Welcome you all for the Maitrimilan session. Of all the techniques of yoga, most important technique of yoga is Bhakti Yoga. So, Bhakti Yoga is something important because it directly deals with the emotions, and all other sufferings, problems that are there are only superficial. But the emotional disturbances, emotional problems are something which are very deep within us. And then many times what happens is we get such suffering at the emotions level, we don't find any way out. So therefore, a technique called Bhakti Yoga is something which directly addresses our emotions. So that's why it is something which is very important. In fact, one person who has written the whole science behind the Bhakti Yoga, it's very difficult to write something like a science about emotions. But such a thing that has to happen, it was only possible because of Narada, who has written the Bhakti Sutras for the Bhakti concept of it. It's very beautiful, 88 sutras, it's a small little book. But each of the sutra is very pregnant with a lot of wonderful ideas. In the second sutra, he defines about the Bhakti. Narada gives us Satvasmin Parama Prema Rupaha. Athato Bhaktim Vyakhyāsyamaha. Let us look at Bhakti. And then immediately he says Satvasmin Parama Prema Rupaha. Bhakti is nothing but a supreme love. That is what is called as Bhakti. Actually, the way Narada puts it is, your ennobled, enriched, supreme love is what is Bhakti. But many translators, they were not satisfied with that. Then they added the idea called as supreme love for God. Actually, but some people are wise. They put that word God in brackets, parenthesis, giving an idea, it is understood, not because it is said that. Therefore, why does it say like that? The simple idea is that we don't know where God is, we don't know how God is. If I have to introduce about Bhakti, I cannot introduce Bhakti in terms of an unknown term called God. In this particular sentence, the known term is something what is called as love. We all know what is love is. And love is one emotion that we all go through, and we all received it from various quarters in various ways. So that is one emotion that we all know. Enriching, ennobling that particular aspect called love is what is called as Bhakti, is the way Narada puts it. Love, we go through that experience. There is nobody who does not have had that experience of love. Right from the beginning, we have had the parents' love, the neighbor's love, brother's love, sister's love, all this kind of variety of love experiences that brings us. Though it is something that we experience so much, but the most misunderstood word called as love. Because the moment that the word love comes, everybody thinks of the love between two opposite sexes, and therefore it is something which is taboo. To an extent that people say that you don't become like a slave for love. It is something which is degrading the love itself. What a wonderful experience. In fact, there is only one experience called emotion that we have, what is called as love. And it itself manifests in the form of various different aspects of it, like the way that one sun ray that comes, passes through the prism, becomes various different colors, the 7 colors of all that rainbow, that comes from the same light, one single light. The same way, when this love passes through the prism, it becomes manifested in various colors, like the way when the same love manifests at somebody who is suffering, it manifests in the form of compassion. Compassion is also nothing but your expression of love. The same thing when you go through, look at a child, and then it becomes like Vatsalya. In Sanskrit we have, unfortunately, a love for the child is not there mentioned in English separately, but in Sanskrit we have a word called Vatsalya. The same thing when somebody adult, somebody elderly, somebody knowledgeable, and you feel like expressing your reverential love, that's what we call it as Shraddha. So the same thing when you see the divinity outside, and the same thing is named as bhakti. So bhakti is nothing but a expression of love where you can see not just human, not cell body, but then you can see the divinity that's there within. So this is what is the way that bhakti is something which is an expression of love itself. But then he says parama prema rupa, ennobling, enriching this love. That's what is the idea. He says opposite to love often people think is hatred. It is not like that. Actually, opposite to love is not hatred, but what happens is that we have different kind of emotion states that we come across, look to be something different, and that's what is jealousy, hatred, anger, and all those things. They are not different from love itself. Only thing is that when this expression of love, that is in the form of either compassion or appreciation, when you see something which is beautiful, or when you have shraddha, when that is something which is reverential, when this expression of love is corrupted by ego, then the same thing manifests in the form of your anger, manifests in the form of jealousy. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, saying that in Daivi Sampat are these qualities where your love manifests, and Asuri Sampat is where that your negative the emotions manifest. In fact, when you look at it, all these positive emotions, like the way that you see something beautiful, it manifests in the form of sense of wonder, or the love, or the compassion. In all those cases that you see, that you feel expanded, you feel lively, you feel something which is beautiful, which is nice. Experience itself is something which is ennobling. Whereas, on the other hand, the negative emotions, like the way that anger, hatred, jealousy, dambha, darpa, this is what Krishna says in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. These are all nothing but when you go through that experience, not only that you suffer, but the others also suffer. It is constricting yourself, restricting yourself. Expansion becomes constriction. That is what is Swami Vivekananda said, expansion is life, contraction is death. And what that makes us contract is our own ego, our own jealousy, our own anger. These are the things. Somehow it enters into us so easily, without any difficulty. All these negative ego enters and spoils the whole positive emotion into negative emotions. This is what we have to be careful. In fact, why there are great qualities about this positive emotions. Whenever you are in the positive emotions like love, compassion, etc., mind becomes peaceful. You become expansive, you become supremely satisfied. You don't want anything else when you are in the state of experience of that. So nothing you want, but then you are totally satisfied. All these qualities are the qualities that you expect out of yoga. In fact, the very definition of yoga itself is mind becoming quiet. Chitta vritti nirodha. And chitta vritti nirodha happens when you are supremely satisfied. Trupto bhavati. Total trupti exists within us. So this is how all these expressions of the result of whatever that the yoga tries to give us, that peace of mind, tranquility, and that supreme satisfaction. In one stroke of a soft emotion called love or compassion, it automatically happens. You don't want anything, you just give and get happiness. These are all the states that we come across when we are in the state of love. So therefore, emotions, making use of these soft emotions called as love, and then trying to see that how you can ennoble into that state of yoga, and that's what is Bhakti Yoga purpose. Therefore, basically, Bhakti Yoga is not oriented towards God, but oriented towards us. Bhakti Yoga is not to find God, but to see that how you can rise to the level you are supremely satisfied, and you are supremely peaceful, and then you are absolutely free from your ego. Because that is the thing which is supposed to be opposite to love. Somebody who has surrendered that ego is somebody who is an extraordinary person in the case of the Bhakti Yoga path. In fact, while telling the Bhakti Sutras, Narada, at one place mentions, Anirvachaniyam Prema Swarupam. It is something which you cannot explain about it. You cannot give a formula for this love. Prema Swarupam. He did not use there the word called as Bhakti, because basically he wanted to go from our own experience, whatever that is called as love. We are in the experience of love, but we don't know what is that experience. Every child goes through that experience. In fact, 2-3 days old child looks at your face, smiles. There is no reason why the child has to smile. It smiles because spontaneously the love comes up. Love is born much, much before the intellect is born. Intellect comes only when the child becomes 5 or 6 years old. So intellect comes much later. In fact, intellect is what the world has given you. Love is what you are born with. So not only that we have, even the animals have, even the plants love. Therefore, Jagdish Chandra Bose said, even the plants have love emotions within. And then therefore that you care, you treat the plant as if that you love the plant and all that, the plant survives. So all these things show that wherever there is life, there is love. So just because that we are breathing, there is life within us, that we have love within us. And that's what is basically Narada gives us an explanation, that we have that but we can't explain it. Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam. There is one more sutra that he says that it is something which is very next to that being in the state of Atmasthiti. That's why Yallabdva Puman Stabdo Bhavati Trupto Bhavati Atmaram Bhavati. You become one with the Atmasthiti. You are inch removed from the state of Samadhi. That's what is the experience of love. That's what is the extraordinary expression about that love. It cannot be explained. Like the way Brahman cannot be explained, Atman itself cannot be explained. The same way, Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam mukha swadanavato. If you cannot explain about it, do you mean to say that there is no experience of it? No, there is an experience. There are people who have experienced. That's why Bhakti Sadhana later on, Narada says that we understand by looking at the people who have practiced that bhakti and looking at their particular life, we will be inspired by that. So it is very important in the case of Bhakti Yoga. In other cases of yoga, a very theoretical aspect of yoga itself is good enough for us. Like for example, when you are reading Raja Yoga, you don't have to go through the people who have experienced at that state, but the philosophy is given in the form of sutras that are there in Patanjali, and then follow that, you can understand that. Similarly, Jnana Yoga, the whole of text of Jnana Yoga doesn't talk about anybody who has that experience. But Bhakti Yoga cannot happen unless until you look at that particular kind of people who have that experience. Therefore, one of the extraordinary persons that whose life is something where there's absolute surrender of ego, there's absolutely no ego, but extraordinary wonderful character, a pinnacle of this particular yoga, the highest of the yoga peaks that he has reached, and that's what is Hanuman. In fact, there is no way that we can explain about Bhakti without taking the example of that Hanuman, a wonderful character that was there. In fact, it's so much that we read every day this Hanuman Chalisa in our Maitrimilan session, just remind of that particular thing. In fact, the power of this Ramayana was so extraordinary in the 14th century, when there was an invasion from various parts of the Muslim countries to India and all that was going on. Particularly in North India, they wanted to survive this whole culture. And one thing that they thought this culture survives is when you take it to the common man's level, to the lower level of strata of the people, this wonderful story of Ramayana. That's why Tulsi Das created this Ramcharitmanas, and it has become like a talk of every house and spread this particular message. Not only in India. Recently I went to Bali, I found out that in every school in Bali they teach about Ramayana. People start playing about the Ramayana, various characters, acts and all those things. So it is something which survived this particular culture. And even in this Ramayana, the whole of Ramayana is because of Hanuman, that whole thing survives. In fact, it is said that the greatness of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is seen because of Vivekananda, his disciple who was there. Such a great person, stalwart, intellect, extraordinary, wonderful person like Vivekananda, he sat at the feet of, humble feet of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and that shows the greatness of Ramakrishna. But otherwise, you just look at the Ramakrishna's character, he is not red, he is not something, he just, as a priest, he was there in the temple, but the whole character came out into the life because of Vivekananda. The same way, he said that the greatness of Rama that you want to know, it is because such a person like Hanuman has become his disciple, his student behind him, and his servant behind him. And that's what makes it great. So therefore, Hanuman is extraordinary because that he has shown that exemplary character of Ramayana, Rama as well. So therefore, basically the whole, the nerve of whole Ramayana is Hanuman. And what is that practice that Hanuman did was the bhakti practice. That's why Bhakti Yoga does not complete without discussing about Hanuman. Extraordinary, wonderful character. There are several incidents which could be an illustrate to this particular idea, but then let me just quote one example to show that how extraordinary Hanuman's character was. Many of you know the simple story of Ramayana. That means to say, when Rama was serving for 14 years, he was supposed to be in the forest. Last year, it so happened that Sita was abducted by Ravan, taken away to Lanka. And then Rama was in search where Sita has gone. He does not know absolutely nothing at that point of time. That's the time that Hanuman comes into the life of Rama. And he takes him to Sugriva and all that thing. And then when Hanuman went there in search of Sita, he finds in Sri Lanka and all that happened that we know. And when he came back, all those war is over, Ravan is killed, and Ram and the whole entourage are returning back to Ayodhya. This is the scenario. And when they were returning to Ayodhya, on the way, Bharadwaja stops Rama and says, Rama, why don't you stay for one day and take rest? Because after a long journey, why can't you take rest for one day? And then tomorrow you can go so that you can reach Ayodhya. Rama said, no, I promised Bharata that I will be coming on the same day, on the 14 years later. Then I must go. Bharadwaja says that the calculation that you have, maybe monkeys have given you. They might err, but I know calculations very well, that therefore you can have one more day gap, you can stay with us, take rest, and then go to Ayodhya, you can still be in time. So Rama is convinced, so he stayed in Bharadwaja Ashrama, but while staying there, he called Hanuman aside and says, Hanuman, why don't you go to Ayodhya and see and come back what is happening in Ayodhya? You see, Rama is such a gentle character, such an extraordinary, wonderful brother, that the intention behind telling Hanuman, go to Ayodhya and see, come back and tell me what's happening, is that if people of Ayodhya are happy with Bharata, and if Bharata is happy with the kingdom, then everything is fine, everything is happy. I don't have to go there, I can settle down in the forest itself. I don't want to disturb, because if I go there, if they feel disturbed, that should not happen. So therefore, basically, why don't you go and tell and come back? But then at the same time, he also instructs Hanuman, my dear Hanuman, one thing is good, that is, you just go and see and come back. Don't do anything there. Because earlier also I gave you similar instruction, go and see and come back what happens in Sri Lanka, about Sita, but you went and burned half the Lanka and came back. So that should not happen, therefore just see and come back. But then Hanuman, what Rama did not want him to do it, he did it. He set fire to Ayodhya and came back. But this time, the kind of fire that he set to Ayodhya was different. It was not like real fire, but he went there and made an announcement, Rama is on his way. See, it was like a wildfire in the whole of Ayodhya. It spread so much, people were so eagerly waiting for Rama to return. So when Rama went there, the whole of Ayodhya were there ready to receive Rama. It was an extraordinary, wonderful occasion, because after 14 long years, they are having their own king back into their kingdom. You can just imagine what is the jubilant that was there. And this festivity was going on day after day after day. And when this festivity was going on, the Darbar also, there were people there. And Rama is presenting all those people who have helped him directly, indirectly, Pratyaksha, Paroksha. And all that great work that they have done was being announced. And then afterwards the award ceremony was there, and then they were given such awards by Rama, they couldn't even expect it. So much more than that. Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, etc., all those things were there. And that was going on. When this was going on, everybody was simply rejoicing the whole event. But then there was always a thought within them that we always heard that Hanuman has done something which is extraordinary in case of Rama. But Hanuman's name is not being said. When will his name become said? And what are the things officially that we know what he has done? And what is the way Rama is going to recognize? There's such a great curiosity among the people, they were all waiting. When this was going on like that, suddenly Hanuman's name was announced. And the moment Hanuman's name was announced, Immediately there was a round of big applause from the people because that they were waiting for this moment when they want to see how Hanuman is being decorated, recognized. But in that whole of din of sound that was going on there, one person who became absolutely silent was Hanuman. He was also sitting there. He never thought his name was being called. He was enjoying that everybody who has been helping Rama and all those things, because the simple reason is he never thought that he is separate from Rama. He never thought that he is separate from Rama. It is like the way right hand appreciating something the left hand has done. He never felt like that. Therefore, he was just stunned when his name was announced. But then name was announced, so Sabha Maryada, he had to walk. So he mechanically started walking towards Rama's throne. And then another person in that whole particular congregation, somebody who was really silent, was Rama. Rama also never felt Hanuman's name will be announced because Rama never thought that Hanuman is not a soul away from him. So therefore, basically, he was also stunned. His name, Hanuman's name was announced. Immediately he started thinking, what is it this man has done to me, Hanuman? What has he done that he has done to me? It is like the way that your own person. So therefore, then immediately, like a flashback, the whole reel went in front of Rama's eyes. He said, what is he not done to me? In fact, when I was in the forest, lost everything, lost my wife, absolutely not knowing any idea where she has gone. In fact, I didn't even have my slippers because Bharata has taken it away. In that condition, when I don't have anything, I was absolutely in total wilderness, not knowing what to do. It was at that moment Hanuman came into my life. Such an extraordinary, wonderful, knowledgeable person. Everything was there, but he came to me like a very simple, humble sevak. That is how he came and said, Rama, what can I do for you? You want a kingdom? Yes, Kishkinda is your kingdom, because I don't have anything. I want a friend, then Sugriva is your friend. What an extraordinary, wonderful gift he has given me. And not only all those things, and he said that you lost your wife, you want to go in search of your wife, let me go and find out where your wife is there. He is the person who jumped into searching for Sita, went all the way to Lanka, and then came back and said, you know, the very beautiful way that it expressed that Hanuman comes, first thing that he says, Rama, I found Sita. That was the first word he said. What a wonderful quenching words that Hanuman has given. Such an extraordinary, wonderful service to me. Not only to me, but look at the way that he did the service to my wife, Sita, absolutely lost in Ashokavana, in Lanka, did not know what's happening, did not even know whether Rama knows where she is and going in search of him or anything, going in search of her. All those things, there was nothing available at that moment. She was so desperate. In that desperation, she said, okay, enough is enough, now let me end life. This is how she set fire around and ready to jump into the fire. It is at that last moment Hanuman goes there and says, Mother, don't jump into the fire, Rama is on his way. What a kind word that he has given to the Sita that has saved her. But then at the same time, a small little puny monkey is sitting there and saying that Rama is coming and taking you, don't worry about it. Then how can she get the confidence? He says that Rama is all alone in the forest and he is coming in search of me. What can he do? This was the kind of doubt she was nurturing in her. Hanuman recognizes that. Hanuman said that you want to find out the strength of Rama? You want to really find out the strength of Rama? I can show you. In fact, you give me permission that I can go round. And then he went round the Lanka and then burnt the Lanka and came back to Sita. He says that this is what is my power and I can take you back. But that honor should go to Rama. And I am the smallest little person in the Rama's army. There are such great people there. Sugriva, Angada, Jambavanta, these are all the people who are there. I am a little small person. What a kind of an assurance that Hanuman has given to Rama, Sita. And not only to my wife Sita, but my brother. I lost him in the battlefield. Lakshmana is about to die. And I thought that he really died. It is at that moment Hanuman jumps in saying that Rama, don't worry about it. In fact, he is not dead because there is prana in him. Even the best of the physicians who is there in the enemy's camp, I will bring him. And see that Lakshmana is brought back to life. He went to Nuvarelia in Sri Lanka and that brought Sushena. And that physician, Sushena, says that looking at Hanuman, looking at Lakshmana, he says that he is my king's enemy's brother, therefore I don't want to treat him. At that moment, Hanuman says, you know what, here you are a doctor, he is a patient. Between you and him, there is no enemy, there is no friend or anything like that. Your duty is supposed to take care of this patient. And that Sushena says, all right, I will take care of him, but the medicine is on the other end of the earth. That's what is on the top of Himalayas. Thinking that maybe he cannot get it. But Hanuman jumps there and then he wanted a herb, I'll give you hillock. And that's why he brings about the whole of Sanjeevani, whatever herb you want to take it. What a kind of service that he has done. You ask for one, he brings about 100. That is the kind of work that he has done, not only for my brother in the battlefield, but back at home. Bharata was like a rishi. In fact, Valmiki describes Bharata Rishipungava is an extraordinary, wonderful rishi in contemplation of Rama, and he is taking care of Ayodhya as representative of Rama. He says, I have given you 14 years of time, and that day, that was the next day that is going to end. Therefore, Bharata is ready to jump into the fire, set fire together, and he says, a world where Rama is not there, Bharata is not going to be there. At that moment, Hanuman comes in there because the people were really worried. Now Rama has not come back, Bharata will not be there. What will happen? It is at that last moment, Hanuman jumps in there saying that, Bharata, don't be in a hurry, Rama is on his way. He had to make an announcement about Rama's coming to save everybody. This way, at every step he helped me so much, me, my wife, my brother, and my brother, another brother, everything he has done. What can I give it to him? You see, that is what the situation that comes to. Rama thinks that what can I can give him a necklace and say that be done with that, or can I give him Ayodhya, this is the kingdom that I have. See, this is one time when you go to the God out of love, pure love when you practice, that's when you become richer than the God himself. God becomes poorer, Rama feels poorer. Everybody is eagerly waiting in what way Rama is going to now recognize Hanuman's presence there. But Rama says, yes, there is one thing that I can still give you. And he gets up from his throne, walks down the aisles, meets with Hanuman midway, gives him a bare hug and says, Hanuman, this is what I can give you. Bhakti is one thing which finally merges you with the divinity. It is not that you see God, you experience God, but you become God yourself. That's what is the message of Bhakti Yoga, which is far beyond all other techniques of yoga that is there. That's why in this particular culture, the most important part of the culture is the practice of this Bhakti.